What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ango Show. We are live. It is Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. The Ango Show is powered by NordVPN. Guys, there's a sweet deal happening on NordVPN. Wrestling fans should be taking advantage of it, if you know what I mean. You can learn more at nordvpn.com/Ango. Today, we're joined by Billy TKO. Billy, give us a nice little wave to the camera. What's up, buddy?
What's up, everybody?
So, as you guys know, it's been a very, very, very big week, obviously, for professional wrestling. And yesterday specifically was a big one because we had the, what should,
A little bit of a double header.
Yeah, it was a double header. It was the face-to-face off, the head-to-head.
Yeah.
It was Title Tuesday versus WWE NXT, and very, very clearly, people are gonna have their own opinions on it. I want to talk about both shows in today's live stream.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Obviously, just some very, very, very interesting stuff, man. That I feel as if we need to kind of break things down a little bit on today's show because AEW does what AEW does. There was a little bit of shock factor there, obviously, with Darby Allin. And then obviously WWE kind of shocked us all with some of the results that we got. But personally speaking, as a wrestling fan, I was just thoroughly entertained by both shows. And there were some things I liked. There was also some things I disliked, and we'll obviously break that down. But if you guys want to support the show, there's a couple ways to do that. First and foremost, guys, if you're watching live, please click thumbs up, click like on the stream. It costs you no money to do that. It is completely free, and 1,000,000%, it is appreciated. Another thing that's really appreciated is when you guys drop a super chat on the channel. That goes directly to the show, and obviously your guys' support means everything. It guarantees that your questions, your comments, your hot takes, whatever it may be, will be read on the stream, or you could also become a member as well. Obviously we are back with the live stream, so it feels pretty damn good. I feel good being live again. But I do kind of want to kick things off just in general. I want to kind of get Billy's feedback on what we saw yesterday. So Billy, kind of break down what you watched, how you watched it, what was your takeaways, and then of course we'll jump into it.
I watched NXT. I did keep up with AEW and everything that they had going on, obviously Title Tuesday and stuff like that. But I definitely stayed tuned with NXT and TNA and everything that they had going on. I just think overall for me, that was the show that I preferred to watch in general, because to me, that was the build that I was constantly watching and keeping up with. But to break it down a little bit, over on NXT, obviously the show, it wasn't... I felt like maybe I added a little bit too much stipulation for what I thought it could be, and maybe didn't get every little piece that I wanted. But there obviously were some great things. Like we seen the Hardy Boys and Dark State and how they just kicked off the show very hot. Obviously, you had the Mustafa Ali and Ethan Page. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. That match tore the house down. I think overall, between both shows, best match of the night, whether it be AEW, whether it be NXT and TNA, whatever, best match of the night. Then you had the 4-on-4 Survivor Series elimination style match. Again, I think I just added in my own head a little bit too much stipulation with what I thought could happen. Like, I thought we would see like some turns and some really crazy, shocking things over on NXT and TNA that obviously just didn't take place. Like, Joe Hendry, I was like, oh, we're just going to kind of end it like that. Obviously, really cool to see Ricky Saints, continuously try to run that quote-unquote gauntlet. Dude, very satisfied with the show. Again, just feel like I added too much stipulation in my own head and added too much to it. Maybe from just knowing what, WWE is capable of doing in general. But when it came down to AEW, obviously you had, is it Katana? Caden Carter? I want to say it was Caden Carter. Yeah. That's obviously not her name in AEW, but obviously she debuted over in AEW, and that was against Mercedes Moné. It wasn't who we all anticipated or expected, but obviously that will probably lead into something in the future with the tag team championships. And I know you talked a little bit about shock factor, Darby Allin with the cocktail. What is that? The cocktail Molotov? Is that what that is?
Cocktail,
yeah, that was. Yeah, a little bit too much for my own personal liking. A little bit too much. A little bit. But overall, both shows, very good, very solid. Did exactly what they needed to do. Move things forward. Obviously, Santino and Ava at the end talking about the Battle Royal for the NXT Women's Championship. So cool stuff. Easy breakdown. Hopefully I've yapped enough. And go ahead and talk to him.
No, yeah, honestly, I think obviously there's so much more to break down, like
For sure.
on an individual basis. But I thought it was actually really funny because one thing for me in particular that I was super intrigued by with NXT, and it's actually really crazy because Adam dropped a super chat, and this was actually one of my things I did not like about NXT last night. But it kind of leads into a little bit more of what is good, right? So Adam dropped a $5 super chat. He says, "Hey, Ango and Billy, I was asking all night, where was the TNA announce team last night? I mean, NXT dropped the ball with the announce team. Listen, man, I feel like as if maybe this is what's the best way to explain this? I guess, okay, so, oh, give me 1 second. People are saying my audio is a little too low. Okay, I can fix that for you guys really quick.
Fix that problem real fast.
Is it bad now? Is it a lot better? I increased the gain to 170%, so I did increase it, but yeah, I feel like as long as I'm not distorting now, that's all I care about. But yeah, so for me personally, I thought that was kind of the big miss, right? It's a showdown between the two brands, and they had, WWE NXT's announced team, but they did not have the announced team for TNA there, which I feel like would have been a nice addition if they had two different commentary teams or if they combined them, because it would have been nice to see a little bit of dissension between both brands. I understand where that kind of comes from because, like I said, there is something good that came out of this. So as much as I was disappointed by that, let me be clear, I was disappointed by that. But I did like the fact that at the end, they announced the Women's Battle Royal next week and they want TNA talent in it. So listen, for those who obviously don't know, WWE pivoted from the Invasion storyline to more of a showdown showcase between the two brands. They still treated it like brand warfare, which I was happy about. But I was kind of wondering, I'm like, okay, well, after you do these Survivor Series style matches, like what do you do following with the partnership? They figured it out. Like they have both GMs in the place, like, okay, hey, next week we're going to keep working with each other. So I at least like that part of it. I did like that part of it. And I think for me personally, that kind of made up for the fact that the commentary team wasn't there.
Absolutely.
But I was, listen, let me ask you, because you did say this. And by the way, shout out to Adam for the super chat. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. But Billy, you mentioned like expectations, right? You were talking about expectations. So what specifically maybe were you expecting within this show? Because I think for me personally, from a booking standpoint and from the delivery standpoint, both companies looked good. So what kind of shock factor would you have preferred to see, or what would have made it better for you, I guess?
Well, I think you kind of said it just a second ago about like the whole invasion style, right? Like it became more of like okay, well, this team will face this team and that team will face that team and okay, well, the Hardys will face Dark, and it was very structured. I think what I was looking for was a little bit of no structure, a little bit more of the madness, if you will. Like obviously, like there was a specific a specific part in the show where Dr. Wagner made an appearance, and obviously you had Alexis King and Tavion Heights involved in that and whatever. But part of me was like, oh man, like maybe they could have gotten Dr. Wagner involved in that match. Like, again, maybe it's me setting the bar just a little too high for what I thought could have happened. But, we've used the word quite a lot. A tad bit underwhelmed, I think would be the best way to describe it, because I wanted more out of the show. I wanted it to be like, what's the word that I'm looking for here? More exhilarant, I think would maybe be the word, like to add a little more adrenaline to it. Like, it just felt like, okay, well, this show's here, and of course they did the Battle Royal at the end, and they invited the TNA stars. but I felt like there could have been more stories that were bled into this and that came out of it. Does that make sense?
No.
I hope that does, because I felt like there could have been just a little bit more storyline wise that maybe could have bled into like Bound for Glory or, you know, whatever NXT's next, you know, PLE is. Like, they could have done just a tad bit more. My personal opinion.
Yeah, so I feel like they kind of set up more stories and delivered more of that throughout the matches, right? Especially when you look at like Javon Evans getting pinned by Leon
For
Slater.
sure, by Leon Slater. Yeah.
But I mean, I will say this. I disagree with you fundamentally on pretty much everything you've said because
That's fine.
Because the way that I see this, right? The way that I'm kind of looking at this, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the focus was on the two brands, not on individuals, right? And so when you see that the focus is on the two brands, you know, you have Trick Williams walking out, for example, on Team NXT. It's like that makes sense. Like he should not have stayed for Team NXT. For him, he doesn't care about brand supremacy. He cares about himself, right?
Right.
You know, screwing over Ricky Saints, that's not a thing. First of all, it aligns with his character, but also I think it just makes sense that the storyline itself is within those matches. Now, for example, one thing that I was very, very, very impressed with WWE and TNA here was the ability to make both brands look good. Dark State losing the NXT tag titles to the Hardys, you know, to me, that's a huge deal, right? You have the youth dropping the belts to the veterans, but at the end of the day, TNA does need to win some gold. And then you got to look at Ethan Page and Mustafa Ali, and it's, how do you not get excited about that when, first of all, that's a 5-star match?
Yeah, that was best match of the night, but like I said, but cross AEW, WWE, TNA, whatever, it was the best match of the night.
Just phenomenal stuff. But then also the storyline of like Mustafa Ali getting screwed, I think there's more that they can do with it. And then
for sure.
And then I think you gotta look at the backstage segments too. We finally have, you know, Blake Monroe setting her sights on Sol Ruka's North American Women's Championship, which I love this because Blake Monroe is a top player, a top free agent who signed, and she's not necessarily going after the women's world title. She's going after the mid-card title, which these kinds of things make the mid-card titles feel more important. So I do feel as if NXT and TNA furthered the stories. But my favorite part about it, though, is going into Bound for Glory. Now it's like, okay, Team TNA and NXT were so even. Is somebody from WWE going to get their lick back at Bound for Glory? You know, I think it opens up the doors for potential surprises there.
And of course, they finally did do something that I wanted them to do too. By the way, they finally put the titles on somebody from TNA, and of course, it was the Hardys, right? Which I think, no matter what, you know, that's a good look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do love the idea that a TNA group finally has like a set of WWE championships.
Yes. We do have some breaking news, and I am happy to bring this to your guys' attention. Holy shit, we didn't expect this, but it is in fact true. There is some breaking news. So as of right now, it's been officially reported that Santos Escobar has come to a new agreement with WWE, and as a result, he is back with the company. According to PW Insider, WWE management considered Escobar's creative concerns and as such made him a sizably larger offer than any of their previous overtures, and WWE has now added him back into the internal roster. So yes, we are live right now. This is some breaking news, but here is some really fascinating stuff. There was a lot of belief that Santos would be going to AEW. Now, WWE, they could have lost him to AEW. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But if WWE wanted him that bad and they made him this much of an offer, I'm going to assume that he is in line for a big push upon his return. So Santos Escobar is back in the WWE. Totally unexpected. Just unbelievable news. And this is why you guys should be watching us live, because sometimes things like this happen. And obviously we could talk more about it in depth later today for the video. But unbelievable stuff, Billy. What do you think about that?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, right? Like, we kind of thought, like, oh man, like there's obviously this potential for him to go to AEW, and we talked about, like, somebody wants to bet on themselves, there's nothing wrong with that. And then obviously you just broke the news, a bigger offer than any other offer that they had before. And I think you just kind of said it best. What you can expect now is Santos Escobar to have some kind of huge push. What that push is, obviously, we'll see in due time. But I do think it's huge. And obviously WWE felt that Santos Escobar was some kind of important player, which I agree with. I love Santos Escobar. I don't know about anybody else, but I love the work that he's done with Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, whatever. I do love the work that they've all done together. But I do think, obviously, like a mid-card championship run, if we talked a little bit about his age yesterday, being 41, if they want to hurry up and get him up the card a little bit, go ahead, man. Who cares at the end of the day, right? So I love the idea of it. I like seeing people continuously succeed. Obviously, I've watched Santos Escobar since his time in NXT. So looking forward to see how WWE is going to utilize him going forward on the main roster. I love it, dude. Some shocking breaking news. And like Ango said, guys, make sure you're tuning in because you never know what you're going to get.
It's fascinating because honestly, it's just we didn't expect this. You know what I mean? And, look, bro, this is the way I see it. They're bringing him back. Santos Escobar is a cool ass character. I like his character. I like the stuff that he did with Carrillo and all that. But I think we just have to point it out. Why not possibly bring back El Fantasma?
Well, that was I mean, that was definitely a thought of mine too, because it is something that you could do, right? Easily.
So this is what I'm proposing. So for those who are joining us now live, there is breaking news. Santos Escobar has re-signed with the WWE. So again, breaking news. PWInsider.com has reported that WWE made him a sizable offer. This is absolutely huge. I think WWE should bring him back as El Fantasma. They're doing this whole thing with AAA and WWE. They're, you want to have this huge star, put the mask back on him. Like, I like his character without the mask, but if you really, why not make this even a more marketable thing? El Fantasma, I don't know.
Yep.
I think it would be
obviously sick. When he got unmasked in NXT, that's kind of where we see the Santos Escobar today. I do think it would be a genius idea. Obviously, he ran that cruiserweight division at the time when it was happening. But the guy is so talented, dude. WWE, I'm super happy that they chose to do this because obviously it would, I understand from a business side why WWE lets certain people go and things of that nature. I'm not going to sit here and argue that or try to be defensive of that. But truth is, Santos Escobar is a great character overall. And with the partnership with AAA, or they own AAA now, it would be foolish to not put that mask back on him, like you said. Let him go run the ranks. He could win the Mega Championship. There's numerous things that you can do with Santos Escobar.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it, man. There's so much you could do. And like I said it before, it's like he's 41 years old. There's other people you're going to want to push in front of him. I think that's just realistic and logical. I don't think we could really debate that. Like, there's a lot of people that are going to be groomed for world championships.
Absolutely.
So, and it's tough because I don't believe age is a factor in today's day and age in professional wrestling. But you
have to look at timing.
You have to look at timing. So if you're looking at the time where okay, Braun Breaker's on the main roster, he's substantially younger. Like, you have to push Braun Breaker as a priority more than Santos, right? You invest in your future, not as much in your present. But I feel like for WWE, this was a phenomenal thing. And the truth is this, I think deep down inside, he could have gone to AEW and been a great performer in AEW, but it's as I said yesterday, I don't want to see Santos Escobar in AEW just to be an LFI or Don Callis family. To me, that's not what I want to see. And the reason why I don't want to see that is because, in my personal opinion, all these guys that are my fucking favorite wrestlers go to these groups and they're not doing shit with them. So it's like, you kind of get a little annoyed watching it. But
well, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe Santos kept the conversations going because maybe he's seen the same thing that we were seeing? If I go there, well, I'll get stuck in LFI and I see the things that they're doing on TV. Or, the Don Callis family, I see the things that they're doing on TV. Do you think that maybe that could have potentially played a factor? And obviously this isn't factual, by the way.
Yeah. No, I think what ends up happening is this, bro. The IWC creates a narrative that people are not happy in AEW or WWE. This is 100% proven to be true because we've had Dave Meltzer literally get called out by Andrade, and Dave Meltzer was the one leading the talks about Andrade being unhappy and trying to get out of AEW, blah, blah, blah. Nobody really knows unless you're fucking behind the scenes and you see it with your own eyes. So in my opinion, the way that I look at it is these professional wrestlers, in my opinion, I think what ends up happening is they don't really want to leave, but some wrestlers desire more than money. And I don't blame them because when you're a creative person, and I look at wrestling as a creative entity, just like music and content creation.
That's because it is.
Yeah, because you have a character in performance arts, it's
an outlet.
It's an outlet for your creativity. I think professional wrestlers, and this is where I laugh a lot with the IWC, and they lost. They just lose. They get buried. Oh, they lost. They got buried. No. See, what happens is sometimes you have to lose because you're going to lose sometimes, right? In my opinion, the way that I'm looking at this is wrestlers tend to feel, okay, can I be on TV? Can I do something on TV? Can I be active? And then you have this issue where wrestlers aren't active. For example, Mustafa Ali, he speaks very highly about his time in WWE, but the whole time when it was like this whole free Ali movement, what ended up happening? It was because he wasn't being utilized. It was like, you're not doing anything with him, Right. And then you have Brock, he's supposed to win Money in the Bank. Brock Lesnar screws him over. Like, you have to think of those things. I think wrestlers just want to do what they love, which is wrestle. So I don't think Santos was looking at AEW and was like LFI or Don Callis family because the IWC. I think he looks at it like, dude, I would like to be where I'm at. I like my coworkers. I like my job. I want to do something. And if it's true that he originally turned it down because of the creative and not the money, then sometimes people are willing to take less money. Blake Monroe's a perfect example too. Took less money, but she gets to do things that she wants because it's her dream.
Well, that's what I was about to say. You have to think like these people, they set goals for themselves, no different than you and I and the people watching. They set goals for themselves, and ultimately money is cool. Don't get it twisted. But as long as you're making some type of a livable wage and maybe it's less than you were making before, I mean, it's always going to be worth it to take the shot and go bet on yourself. You know what I mean? If you're not a materialistic person at the end of the day or whatever the case is, like it's always going to be worth it to, like you said, Blake Monroe obviously had the dreams of going to the WWE and she's making them happen now. These people, they do that strictly because like they see it in themselves. They know they're worth something the same way that I think I'm worth something or Ango thinks he's worth something. Like we all think it. It's about capitalizing on it. So yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from 100%, dude.
Yeah, man, I definitely agree. I 1,000,000% agree. And I think for Santos, just, and like I said, I'll probably make a whole video on this because I could talk about this for like an hour, honestly. But with Santos Escobar, he's such a great talent where in NXT, it's like we know he could do stuff. We know he could be extremely talented. And then he comes to the main roster and you get a glimpse of that. But at some point, it does kind of become a head scratcher because you're watching and you're like, okay, why? Like, I have no problem with him doing this filler stuff for now, but at what point do you break out and do more with him? And then it's like, you look at the SmackDown mid-card and you're like, oh my God, you have Malachi Black, you have Sami Zayn, you have all this stuff. Bro, these guys could wrestle. Let them wrestle. This should be the equivalent of the IC mid-card title, And
Absolutely.
I think that's really what it comes down to is you just got to utilize them. So good on that, guys. Like I said, that was breaking news. Santos Escobar did, in fact, re-sign with WWE. He chose not to go to AEW. God bless him. Good luck. I'm happy for him. I would have been happy for him, honestly, just in general.
No matter where he went, the guy, he's a stellar talent, and at the end of the day, he's a human being trying to make some money. Do what you need to do, brother. I'm rooting for you no matter what. I like Santos Escobar.
Yeah. I want to drop a shout out to Ramit Taneja. Maybe I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but it looks like we're getting 100 Indian rupees from Ramit. He says, bro, All Elite Wrestling was the worst TV show compared to NXT and TNA. I think why is Tony Khan delaying in adding Dakota Kai and DMD, which is Trump Card? I don't know what the Trump Card has relevance to that. I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, I don't know if the Trump Card necessarily means anything when it comes. I don't think Britt Baker is the changing factor.
Is there something about Britt Baker being like MAGA?
No, I think when they say Trump Card, they mean it's like your ace.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that could be the turning point for AEW if they brought Britt Baker back.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I was trying to understand it. Listen,
Yeah.
man, honestly, I enjoyed AEW. It's just like last night's episode, I feel like WWE just clearly they gave me everything I wanted. My only expectation was please allow TNA to win something because we don't want WWE to just fucking bury TNA. And I swear, bro, we had some good matches, some good stories. I thought AEW was good. The only thing I didn't like about AEW last night, the two things I didn't care for, I didn't care about watching Jon Moxley and Ishii, especially going up against the Hardys in Dark State. I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't like that, and I didn't like Lacey Lane taking the fucking open challenge. But me personally, the reason why I didn't like the open challenge thing is because of the fact that like Lacey Lane wasn't even a big star in WWE. So like,
no, and you had the opportunity to do the Dakota Kai thing. You definitely teased it as if it may have been Dakota Kai, right? And I'm not saying like they went out and said Dakota Kai's name, but there's obviously a show and they make it look a certain way, whatever the case is. So yeah, no, I agree 100%. 1000%. She wasn't like you said.
As far as over like expectations and stuff, that falls on us. You know, we're on the internet. We see the speculation.
For sure. Absolutely. I'm not even saying it's on them.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying it's on them. What I'm saying is it just looked a certain way. And of course, I'm a wrestling fan and I'm going to think a certain type of way. Yeah. Just that's it.
I mean, as you guys have seen on this show, there's a reason why we don't really review Dynamite.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think that's the perfect way to say it. I don't think Dynamite, it was a fun show to watch. It was enjoyable. In no means that I thought it was better than WWE and TNA last night. No way did I think it was like this incredible thing. I'm not excited about Hangman Page and Samoa Joe, but like, it's good. It's not bad. I'm not thrilled about it.
Yeah, just not super invested in it.
Yeah, I'm just not. That's okay. It's a solid show. It was fine. It was whatever. I'm not really too concerned about it. But shout out to Ramit for the super chat. I appreciate it, dude. Toledo Channel dropping 100 Indian rupees. He says SmackDown and NXT mid-card scene is my favorite. Last night, North American title was awesome. Also, Paige is like an international ambassador for NXT. This is a phenomenal point. They're doing the stuff with Tavion Heights, Lexis King, Dr. Wagner, and then Ethan Page. Like, there's some sort of dynamic here that's interesting because Tavion Heights, Lexis King thought Dr. Wagner was Tavion Heights. Yeah. It's like your little comedic spot, whatever. But the fact that they're building, and I believe it is next week, it was confirmed for next week, Ethan versus Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I like this. I think the fact that you can't do AAA WWE Worlds Collide without Ethan Page. He's the North American champion.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it's funny you say that because that really is the role that, and you know, one thing that I want to say is we've been yelling, oh, when's Ethan Page going to go up? When's Ethan Page going to go up? When's he going to, because obviously it's inevitably going to happen, right? The question is when? Well, the truth is right now they don't necessarily need Ethan Page on the main roster. Like, would it be nice to see? Absolutely. But is it an absolute necessity? No. And to be quite honest with you, I love the things that he's doing with the North American Championship. I think they've been calling it like a curse, like the Ethan Page curse or whatever. I think that's what they've been calling it. Truth is, let that become a thing. Let it become a thing. Let this guy keep winning. Let him keep pissing people off. I love it. I think it's great. And, you know, you kind of said it a little bit ago, you know, about there potentially being like more story, you know, with Mustafa Ali. Like, there's so many things. So to the point of like the international guy who's just traveling all around these different brands and really putting on for them, fully agree. This guy is outstanding.
Well, one thing that I find very fascinating too with the Mustafa Ali thing is, you know, TNA and WWE work together. Why not do something in which maybe for the next Worlds Collide, TNA is involved? You know, they're doing these multi-man matches for the North American Championship. Why not have Wagner? Why not have Ali, Ethan Page? You know, what I love so much about the Ethan Page thing is he went from being the NXT World Champion. He got hot-shotted into that. And then it was like, okay, well, what else do you do? He, like, first of all, I fucking love this North American title look. Like, the Canadian strap on it is fucking cool.
Yeah, it is fire. Yeah. I didn't like it at first. It obviously
I didn't either. It grew on me because I feel like Ethan Page made the title even better. It's awesome, bro. I genuinely think it's awesome. I'm super excited to see what they do here. WWE's in a tough spot because, with TNA, you want TNA to look somewhat good. You don't want to bury TNA. You also want AAA to look good. So now if you do a Worlds Collide, you have to be able to balance all three brands. That's where I like the North American Championship kind of being like the title that floats around. And I like the idea, Toledo Channel saying international ambassador, they want to do Japan. They want to do these things. Maybe I'm wrong here. I think WWE should retire the North American Championship, and I think they should make it their international championship. You have the deals with TNA. You have the deals with Pro Wrestling Noah. You have the deals with AAA. You have all this stuff going on. Eventually, you're going to expand. Ethan Page right now has a feud with people in AAA, people in TNA. Imagine if WWE were to kind of copy AEW and that title goes around. And the cool thing about that too is if WWE were to do that and they have these partnerships everywhere, it's the WWE branded belt that travels. To me, it just seems like a no-brainer. And Ethan Page right now is the perfect ambassador for this because he's such a great character and such a great heel that eventually somebody, maybe Worlds Collide or maybe somebody in Noah.
I mean, dude, think about it. They have the ID championships that travel through the independent circuit. Why not? Why not do something international?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would be almost foolish not to.
Especially if you're going to launch NXT Japan or NXT,
correct. Europe or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be foolish not to do that.
It's just food for thought.
I'm with Toledo Channel there, and Ethan Page is the perfect guy for that role right now.
Yeah. I'm with him, man. Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat.
That was a really good super chat.
Keep them coming, guys. We're almost at goal. Phenomenal Ace in the chat did mention, he said, the problem with that is that the North American title is coming from a developmental brand. Yes, but at the end of the day, if you're branding it WWE wants NXT to be its own thing anyways.
I was about to say, how long are we going to continue to look at NXT like a developmental?
No, it is, but it's a hybrid.
Yes, because I think you just put it right there. It's a hybrid because they have developmental, they have evolve.
Yeah,
right?
And that's why it's a hybrid. People, at the end of the day, the goal is to get to WrestleMania. NXT has their own version of WrestleMania, which is Stand and Deliver, right?
Because, when you think of a hybrid, I look at somebody like Shawn Spears, for instance. Shawn Spears realistically doesn't need to be in NXT. He could be on the main roster doing his thing. Now, do I know if he has anything to do on the main roster? No. So they put him in NXT. Why? Because obviously he can flourish there. And I'm just using him as an example.
It's not about flourishing though. He's there because he's helping
develop.
Yeah, he's there coaching. People forget about him and Tyler Breeze having the flatbacks or flatjacks or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So that is something to obviously consider, but yeah, man, it's to me, the way I'm looking at it is NXT is developmental, but it's always going to be a hybrid because Raw and SmackDown are its own thing. We in the wrestling community call it the main roster. And yes, it is the main roster, but NXT is a developmental brand where they have to have veteranship. And there was a report that came out, and I actually talked about this in video, and I even reached out for comment, and a source had even told me it is true that there are going to be veterans that are signed to NXT solely for NXT because of their age. For example, hey, you're not going to be a WrestleMania main eventer, but we want you. We love your skill. We love what you can do. And we want to utilize you in a position where you can help the younger talent. I was told that this is a legitimate thing that NXT might be doing, and it kind of makes sense. Now, I don't think people like Ethan Page and Ricky Saints should be those people, right? But
no, because Ricky Saints is still only 35 years old.
But Tyler Breeze and Shawn Spears and those kinds of people, I think that's a perfect example of okay, they don't need the development, but they're on the developmental brand to help others
help develop.
But that's what makes it a hybrid.
Right.
I think that's very fair.
Yes.
But yeah, I think when you look at NXT, the thing about NXT that's become so special over time is the fact that, the belief is always, can we get somebody from NXT to the main roster to WrestleMania? And they've done such a remarkable job of that. And this is probably the biggest thing that I constantly talk shit about with AEW. It's a consistent thing. And this is where the WWE system is correct, in my humble opinion. There's nobody who could debate this with me. If you want, maybe you disagree, let me know. Or if the chat disagrees, let me know. But in my opinion, the reason why I think NXT has become so good at what it does, and the reason why AEW is so bad at what they do, is because WWE allows NXT to be the proving ground, the training ground. Ring of Honor is like not that for AEW. So this is why I have a hard time coming to grips with the idea of this is why I have a hard time coming to grips with the idea of like Lacey Lane making her debut. You just put her on Ring of Honor. If you thought she was that big of a deal, you would have said, fuck Ring of Honor. Let's make a big deal out of your debut, putting you on Dynamite.
Correct.
When you bring in a free agent, a new signing per se, you're already telling us that Ring of Honor is the show of death. Like it doesn't have anything special.
Yeah, there's no substance to it.
You know, it's like, bro, it's just, you got to have substance. And it's like, okay, well, that's why out of the things I didn't like about Dynamite last night, it's like Lacey Lane, dude, she's awesome. Nothing against her, but it did not feel important. It was basically saying, here's a special debut. Here's a surprise debut. By the way, this person's losing. Because there's no fucking chance in hell that they are going to have Lacey Lane defeat Mercedes Moné.
Not a shot. It doesn't happen.
It just doesn't happen, man.
Oh, I agree.
It just doesn't happen. We got to get away from this. I
Correct.
fucking hate predictability in professional wrestling. And I say this, I defend it because it's okay to be predictable at times. But when you're doing some of these things that they're doing, and this is every fucking company, not just AEW, but every fucking company has the tendency to be like, super predictable. They're playing it safe. And you know why? You know why it's a problem when you're playing it safe? I'm going to explain to you, Billy. This is going to be the biggest way to know how, like, this is how you know companies are playing it safe. WWE was absolutely killing it. You want to know what their ratings were this past Friday on SmackDown?
What were they?
It was the lowest ever in SmackDown history, 1.03 million. And this is with the new rating system that they claim to be a little bit more, accurate. The sample size is a lot higher. I mean, we don't know 100% with certainty how true that is, but this is how you know wrestling has become predictable and people are playing it safe. Because the company, WWE, which, by the way, WWE SmackDown was a great episode. Dynamite this week, great episode. NXT, great episode. You're bringing us great content, but the thing that needs to be mentioned is that these companies are playing it safe. The Rock showing up at Bad Blood, The Rock showing up and doing the heel turn for John Cena. All of those things are great moments, but then the follow through after, it's like it needs to be a little bit better. And the reality is companies are playing it safe. The companies are playing it safe. And this is why NXT, like the numbers are going to come in. NXT will have absolutely decimated AEW. I can't imagine if this new rating system is 100% like the new thing where it's far more accurate because the sample size is way larger. Like that's fucking alarming, bro.
For sure.
It's alarming. Like Collision had like 200,000 viewers. SmackDown 1.03. So that means people are going to choose sports over wrestling every time. That means
AEW have some really low ratings.
Yeah, bro, they did like 400,000 last week. People really are looking forward to seeing the numbers today because when the numbers come out, how does NXT fare against AEW? And I get it. Like my stance on ratings will completely change if we find out that these are more accurate. And the reason why I say this and the reason why it's important, my stance with ratings has always been the same. It's been, hey, it's not accurate. It's not accurate. It's not accurate.
You can't
really tell. Now, the new system that Nielsen has is becoming a thing where it's like supposedly very close to high accuracy. The sample size is just too large. They're using a whole different system now. So if that is true, if that's the case, then I'm going to look at ratings and tell you guys, hey, this is the reason why they're low. The reason why they're low, I think it's safe to say they're playing it safe. And that just goes to show you that wrestling is fucking cool and wrestling is being mainstream, but people are not going to sit here and be like, I choose professional wrestling over Saturday night family time with my friends and whatever, You can't expect that die-hard viewership. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. Football season's here, all these things. Corey Peterson in the chat says, I watch AEW on HBO Max. Well, we already knew that. It got exposed as a lie. That HBO Max was not getting 500K viewers. So maybe you're watching on HBO Max. I do too, by the way. I think it's actually a better experience on HBO Max. But deep down, 100%. But deep down inside, that was all a lie. It was never 500,000 viewers. You know what I mean? It was that got canned real quick. Even so that's the thing. It's like it just that's just the truth. It's we have gotten to a point where in professional wrestling things are predictable. People are playing it safe, and that's the thing. 1.03 million viewers is the lowest ever for SmackDown. That's not a Fox Sports 1 episode, bro.
Jeez.
And I thought SmackDown was a solid episode. It was a great episode.
It was pretty good.
Actually, as far as for last week, listen, I will tell you guys this right now. Last week, Friday, SmackDown, awesome. Collision was pretty damn good. Raw, fucking solid. Might honestly be the best Raw episode of the year. It's definitely
hands down. It was a very good Raw. They finally added a little spice and something nice. You know what I'm saying?
Dynamite and NXT, awesome. This was a fucking awesome week for professional wrestling.
For sure. After what was a pretty slow week last week.
But now it's going to be really interesting to see those numbers because,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So Nats fan says, and the consumer should care why. Nats fan, I love you. I'm going to tell you why.
I love Nats fan. That's my dog.
I'll tell you why I care, why you shouldn't care. Me personally, my business is solely focused on the growth of professional wrestling. If professional wrestling is not popular, if professional wrestling dies, I don't have a career.
Then you don't eat.
I don't eat. So I have to care about how professional wrestling is. And people are like,
but
you're just a YouTuber.
Regular consumer.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for them.
No, the actual regular consumer doesn't affect your daily life. You shouldn't care about the numbers.
Yeah.
That should be the least of your worries.
But if we're in a situation, which by the way, you gotta look at it from this way. I talk about professional wrestling. If professional wrestling is dying, then people will seek less content.
Correct.
And granted, I could talk about anything in this world. I'm passionate about many things in this world, but I'm so passionate about wrestling that the last thing I want is for professional wrestling to die. And I don't want AEW to die. I don't want WWE to die. I don't want TNA to die. I want every company thriving. But now think about it. Think about it.
Okay.
MLW lands a new TV deal, which, by the way, we're not going to talk about because I did text you, Billy. We're not going to talk about it publicly. But MLW could be getting a very sick TV deal. TNA could be getting a very sick TV deal. I want these fucking companies selling out 10,000 seat arenas
every time.
Because you know which YouTuber talks about all of the companies? Me, this one right here. This guy right here. In my daily videos,
break news on all of them.
I talk about all of them. A lot of my competitors, and we know this, a lot of my competitors, a lot of the people in the scene, they
very strict to the content that they make.
They're very much WWE or AEW. But I always like the idea of the smaller companies. That's just my fandom.
Yeah, dude, sprinkling something in. You could sprinkle in New Japan Pro. You could sprinkle in MLW. You can sprinkle in CMLL.
So I want that. I want every company to fucking kill it. So that way more people are looking for MLW news. More people are looking for TNA and GCW and NWA. Because I'm the one guy who's constantly talking about the little things. It's just
guess what that means? Views go up, baby.
It's just common sense. I'm just being honest.
But the actual regular consumer, by the way, absolutely not. Shouldn't care.
Yeah. Some people do. Like, I know some people in sports, they love talking about like the business, which is normal. So I don't care if wrestling fans talk about the business.
Yeah, it's normal. But it is normal.
Yeah, like wrestling fans liking ratings talk, I don't care. The only thing I always used to say, the reason why I never cared was because I knew it wasn't accurate.
Right.
So now that we know if these newer numbers are apparently accurate, for example, it's a huge...
people are gonna grift all over you on X now. They're gonna clip that, dude. They're gonna be like, this guy used to say he hated the ratings talk, and now he's like, it's fine. They're gonna shit on you,
I mean, well, that's why I always said like the HBO Max numbers would be really cool if they were accurate. Because if 500K is watching on HBO Max and then 500K is watching on TV, and those are both accurate, for example, I'd be like, damn, that's fucking awesome. AEW's back to 1 million.
Right.
There used to be a time when AEW there used to be a time where AEW was constantly doing 8 to 900K.
Right.
So,
I remember. Yep.
So listen, Corey, I think you are Pete Rocks 2.0. So we're just gonna yeah. Sorry, bud. If you guys come in here with the Pete Rocks behavior, you're getting Pete Rocks out of here.
Yeah, you're getting bounced, brother.
We have some really huge potential news. Let me see. Let me just double
Clarify
check.
real fast. Ango's clarifying for us. Dude is coming. Are we about to get two news scoops in the same live stream?
Yeah, there might
That'd be pretty massive. That'd be pretty massive, dude. Be pretty massive. I hope everybody can see I got my Tigers hat on. I'm really waiting for game 4 tonight. Hoping my Tigers pick up the W today.
Yeah, Nats fan was telling me in the chat earlier that they actually lost yesterday.
Man, got spanked. They didn't just lose, they got spanked. That was an ass whooping, brother. So I'm hoping we can redeem ourselves today. Nats fan, I can't see the chat. Is Scooble pitching tonight? I think he might be. If Scooble's pitching, I got hope. I know he pitched the other night, but I think it's like a 3-day break that starters get. So he could be available tonight. But yeah, we got 40-ounce bounce last night. It was crazy.
What was the score?
It was like, I think it was like 8-4, something like that, 9-4. I can't remember, but it was ass whooping to epic proportions. They came into our house and just it beat us. It was disgusting. Horrific, brother.
What the hell's up with the Tigers, bro?
Dude, so we had a really rocky end of the season, so nobody really expected it. Like, I thought we weren't even going to make it into the playoffs, to be quite honest with you. I thought we were going to... I kind of figured we'd make the wild card and maybe lose in that series, but then we beat the Guardians in a 3-game series, and here we are now playing Seattle in a 5-game series, and yeah, we're just getting spanked around. And the winner of this series will either go play the Yankees or the Blue Jays, and truth be told, it'll probably be the Blue Jays. If we go play the Blue Jays, brother, we're getting spanked. The Blue Jays are going to the World Series. It'll be the Blue Jays and the Dodgers.
I wish I could get back into the Tigers, but it's harder for me because I feel like baseball is a little bit slower. But I do.
It's very slow.
So the way I watch baseball is like the one sport that's for sure in the background. As long as I could hear what's going on, that's what I care about.
So funny enough, I played baseball my whole life, and I think I've just kind of had like this, knock to it. Obviously, I love the Tigers. You guys can see the ring. It's the Old English D. So, love the Tigers, dude. I keep up with them as much as I possibly can. I'm not the biggest or the most avid baseball watcher either, but once they get into the playoffs, I'll keep up with them. You know what I mean?
So Michael Graham put in the chat, he said, y'all beat my Guardians, so y'all can lose for all I care. LOL. Who are the Guardians? Because I don't remember that being a team.
Oh, Cleveland. That's Cleveland. It used to be the Indians, but yes.
Why did they change the name?
I think you know why they changed the name.
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't follow baseball like that.
I'll be honest with you. There was a lot of backlash that the Indians got, kind of the same way that the Redskins.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, it was the same kind of backlash.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, I think that happened 5 years ago, something like that. I can't necessarily remember when it happened, but they did change from them to the Guardians, and no, definitely, yeah, we beat the Guardians, and they were making an incredible run. We were up by 15 games. I think going after the All-Star break, we were up 15 games, and Cleveland came all the way back and actually beat us in the standings. And we still made the wild card, and they were supposed to go on this magical run, and we beat them. We smoked them.
Damn.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even know that. Just being
Yep.
honest. Wow. Okay. So here's something interesting. I do have a scoop, but I'm gonna get confirmation on it first before I speak on that. But I did receive a text about a new WWE signing, and I'll bring that to you guys in video format later once I get 100% confirmation.
Get your confirmation, brother.
That's an interesting one. It's an interesting
Absolutely.
one. The name that I heard, I mean, it's for NXT, and it's
Okay.
it's somebody who I feel like wrestling fans will know. So it's not
Cool.
a completely unknown name. It's somebody that you guys know. But let me
Okay.
I want to get double confirmation on that.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Sean Ross Sapp is tweeting more teases, so maybe that has to do with what I'm getting.
Okay. Okay.
That'd be nice. I mean, look, bro, it's a fun time of the year, man. Professional
For
wrestling.
sure. Absolutely. People's contracts are expiring. New contracts will be signed.
I know we didn't talk about it the other day, yesterday. But Octagon Jr. has left TNA as well.
TNA, right.
So Octagon Jr. and Laredo Kid both left. So we'll see what kind of happens there. But talent are going to be floating around, bro. Talent are going to be moving left and right. And,
Absolutely.
you know, the thing is like, it goes back to the Santos Escobar thing where it's like, it's a big deal. Talent, bro, it's these companies got to fucking pay up the money. You got to retain your talent, bro.
Absolutely. Got to keep them there, brother.
Okay. Like, listen, okay. I think this is a great example, right? Like Santos Escobar, Santos Escobar is a perfect example. Like he could have gone to AEW and like, good for him. You get a job, you're on TV. But like, what else are you going to do?
Nothing.
You have too many people you've signed. What else? You got to push them all. You can't, you know, it's hard.
You can't. It's not possible.
And it goes back to that super chat earlier where it's like, okay, Britt Baker, where's she? Like there's just certain talent not being used, you know, and it is what it is. But, you know, I hope and pray for a healthy wrestling industry. I know D-Rec Tube dropped a super chat. I want to read that. He dropped a $5 super chat. He says, podcasters talk about monopoly, but only talk about two companies. Yeah, I think, I mean, if you look at it, the thing about professional wrestling in today's day and age, and this is why I'm so keen on it, I always enjoyed watching the smaller companies. Like people really don't realize I was never truly a hardcore WWE fan. It's the biggest thing.
You were a big TNA guy. I mean, there were a lot of things about you prior to.
And that's why I fucking loved AEW. And it was like, dude, it kind of changed. I think for me personally, it's fun to watch wrestling.
Correct.
But it's fun to watch the stars before they become stars.
Yes, and that's something that I struggled with for a long time. You know, it wasn't until, you know, obviously our friendship and becoming as close as we are that I didn't even realize how important that kind of stuff was. And now it's one of, you know, we talk about NXT, dude. You knew it. I wasn't the biggest avid NXT watcher. Now I am. You know, I'm consistently tuned in to NXT now, and it's lovely. It is lovely. I love it so much. And I'm not even just speaking on that side. You can even talk about places like MLW, you know, right, who have some pretty great stars. What was his name? Alex Hammerstone. Was it Hammerstein or Hammerstone? Dude, love that guy. Love him. Love the work that he's done. So there's so many different names that I like never would have known, because truth be told, I would have never known about a company like MLW, you know, 5-10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So I would have never taken the time.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you know, like I loved Lucha Underground, right? And like Lucha Underground technically in a way kind of lives through MLW now, kind of in a weird way.
Yeah.
But the thing that I just love is like, I like watching the alternatives because WWE, in my opinion, will never die. I don't care what these people on the internet say, bro. It's just, they're not going to die.
It's just not going to happen.
They could cool off for sure, but they're not going to die. WWE has gone through so many cool off periods. It happens, right? Like it's natural. The thing is, WWE, it wouldn't even shock me if, you know, Endeavor sold them. Like you could sell them to the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. You could sell it. You know, the thing is, WWE can become this ticket price for Endeavor to get out of debt and sell and whatever. To me, WWE will always be this massive giant. You know, the companies, look at Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They're just massive. They're not going to die. No matter what happens, it's not going to happen.
They're going to be around.
So to me, WWE, it's always my safe bet to watch WWE because you know it's there. So that's why I love the fact that smaller companies exist, because it's a nice way to venture off away from WWE.
Agreed.
And so when like MLW, for example, it's hard to support MLW with certain things, but like right now, I'm very, very happy to see Baron Corbin. He didn't go to AEW and he went to MLW, and he's doing,
baby.
Yeah, Bishop Dyer with Dijak, like it's kind of like this fun little thing because it's different than what he was doing in WWE. And I've already seen what happens to talent when they go to AEW.
Yeah, he's just experimenting elsewhere. Why not? Why not test waters elsewhere? And you know what's even better? And I'll be honest, I am one of those people who genuinely like tend to think outside of like myself and put myself in other shoes. Like that's really good for, maybe they have friends that are in AEW and maybe want the waters and maybe don't have an idea of what it would be like in MLW, but you got somebody like Baron Corbin who can, text just a random person, right? And be like, hey, this is what it's like here. This is what I expect. Like, I think that kind of stuff's cool. I don't know. I've always thought that having friends in different places is always nice.
Yeah. And so not only that, right? Not only that, but just in general, having such a, how we were talking about with wrestling fans being outsiders.
Yeah.
Now there's so many different options where you could kind of form your own friendships based on the little things. I had friends. I'm not friends with them anymore, but I had friends that were really big into Japan. It made me venture into more Japanese wrestling.
Correct.
I had other friends who were very, very, very big on the history of Ring of Honor. I grew up watching Ring of Honor, but I wasn't a hardcore Ring of Honor fan, just based on distribution, my age, all those things. Right. So going back and like, because of those friendships, that's why it's so cool having different companies. Cause then you can have friends that also enjoy different companies and you have friend groups that, it's just kind of like that.
Yeah, it is.
David Primero dropped a $4.99 super chat. He says, do you think LFG needs to be canceled? Seems like the season 1 winners are too bland. Those evolved talent in WWE ID have more charisma. Billy, I'll let you take this one first and then I'll respond.
Well, I'll tell you what, they finally got it right, I think, with the Shiloh Hill thing. I feel like that was very important for them to do. I felt like they could have did it in the first season, to be quite honest. I felt like they should have. I really liked Shiloh Hill. Do I think that it needs to go away? It depends in what aspect you're looking. Like no, it doesn't necessarily have to go away. They can do it as long as they do it. Do I think it adds and holds a lot of value? I think that first season did, and by not getting it right the first time, maybe you dropped the ball on something that could have been exciting for fans on like a Sunday night. You know what I mean? So do I think they should cancel it? I mean, to me, it really doesn't matter because I'm not an LFG watcher. I'll be honest with you. I don't keep up with it. I never really did. I do like the idea of Shiloh Hill, though, and I think that's the one big takeaway from that. So overall, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no because I do think that we have to give it more time to see how these people come about overall. Obviously, Jasper Troy and the way that happened, it wasn't necessarily the best. Or Tasha, or like there's numerous. Like I feel like we can get a little more time out of it. That's my thoughts. My bad, I was a little shaky on that one. That one is a little hard for me because again, I'm not the biggest LFG watcher.
Yeah. I will say this. I think the perfect point is Shoe Connoisseur put in the chat. He says it's just extra content at the end of the day. That's how I look at it. What I like about LFG is because it takes kind of like, I've mentioned this so much. There's so many different things that are like, it takes a little bit of The Ultimate Fighter, a little bit of The Voice, a little bit of, there's different competitive shows, Tough Enough, WWE, like it's all one. I like it. The viewership isn't that strong, but it's not really designed to be that strong either, right? It's pre-taped reality TV show. It's whatever.
Right.
My personal opinion is this though. I like the concept of it. I would like to see the winners actually do something. I think Shiloh Hill is if they play their cards right, and I hate the comparison of this, but to me, it feels,
you know what it is.
It's the Bray Wyatt comparison.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You give him the swamp gimmick, like you give him the thing. Like I feel like there is something you could do with Shiloh Hill, but not only that. To be fair, if you follow him on social media, he's a freaking weirdo, and I say that respectfully. He's a weirdo. He's into like the dark web and stuff, and he like vlogs his experiences with it. My point that I'm making is Shiloh Hill has that personality, And
That's dark and twisted.
Even look wise, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Bray. There will never be another Bray Wyatt, but Shiloh Hill could be the first Shiloh Hill. I like the idea of the show existing, but I want to see things being done with the talent that win. Jasper Troy, I thought very highly on. I'm starting to think maybe he's not ready. Maybe within time, we'll see how that goes, right? But what I will say is this, and this might shock people. If I was AEW, I would copy.
Absolutely. I would do the same exact thing.
If I was AEW, I would copy LFG. Somehow, some way, put your own spin on it. Maybe make it more of a reality show where people live together and, you know, they all live in the house and they got to coexist with each other and they're looking for a ROH contract. And I would do this with independent wrestlers, with the companies that, you know, they have companies they work with, but indie companies
would do the same exact thing.
Yeah. I would copy. I would do it.
Yep. I agree.
Shout out to David Primero. I did want to give a shout out to Sharon Dye as well. She dropped $1.99 super chat, but she didn't put any comments with it.
Love Sharon.
But shout out to Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. And thank you, David Primero. We did hit the super chat goal, so I do appreciate that. We're coming up over an hour. Are you good on time, Billy?
Yeah, I mean, I may have to step away here shortly.
Okay.
You got to take care of Grandma.
Got to take care of Grandma. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with one final question.
Okay, hit me.
We have Crown Jewel.
Yes, sir.
We have Bound for Glory. Next week, we have Wrestle Dream. Out of all three shows, currently, as of this moment, because obviously we have still more time until those shows, but currently, as it stands, what show is piquing your interest the most? Which one is piquing your interest the least, and why?
Wrestle Dream is the least. I probably sound like this big AEW hater. I promise you I'm not. I realistically am like trying to make that known. I'm just not that very interested in it. That's all. If I had to pick what's piquing my interest the most, obviously, dude, if I'm being 100% honest, Bound for Glory.
As the most,
and to give the reason why, it's actually match wise. I do like the idea that, you know, Leon Slater and Javon Evans. That's very exciting to me. I like the idea, you know, last night what they did with the NXT Tag Team Championships with the Hardys and the Dudleys. That's going to be awesome to watch. As a longtime Hardys and Dudleys fan, that's going to be exciting for me. Obviously, I actually made a video about this. It's kind of funny you say that. You know, Crown Jewel for me, it feels like brand supremacy, right? The brand warfare thing, like Cody and Seth and that storyline, by the way, because of Monday, very much piqued my interest. I made a video prior to what happened on Monday where I just talked about like, oh, the match just felt like this. And they obviously changed that.
Yeah. They
changed that very well on Monday. But like for me, the biggest match coming out of that, like the one that truly piques my interest out of Crown Jewel is AJ Styles and John Cena. That match to me means something. I love that feud. I loved everything that they did. That feud, funny enough, is actually the feud that got me back into professional wrestling, like originally. So overall, I mean, what truly piques my interest is Bound for Glory because I love the Hardys and I love the Dudleys, Leon Slater, Javon Evans, obviously everything they're going to do with the TNA Championship, but love the idea of Crown Jewel too. Should be fun. It's going to be a fun week in pro wrestling.
To answer my own question, I have to pick Crown Jewel as the most exciting show. And the reason for that, I really just, I think the Seth and Cody story is just phenomenal.
Dude, and I'm not going to lie, bro. I pooped on it. I pooped all over it.
No,
I crapped on it.
It's just, it's heat, bro. It's.
Bro, I pooped on it accidentally.
Accidentally? Did you wipe? No, I'm kidding.
Bro, I pooped on it. It was no good. It was no good. Before Monday came around, I was like, oh man, like this just, it doesn't strike my interest. I'm not crazy excited for it. It just feels like, oh, we're just gonna, who has the better championship, and then they do Monday, and I'm like, of course, I just pooped all over this, and now they add interest to it. I'm a dummy.
There's something about that feud I just love. I love the history there.
The history is great, and I talked about that. The history is good.
I'm excited for
but
Roman.
It felt like there was nothing to fight for.
Yeah, well, now it feels bigger. And then
now it feels bigger.
And then you got to wonder, like, Seth is kind of going against Paul Heyman with certain things. So who really controls the vision? It's just such a phenomenal story. The Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed, I think some people are looking at this straight up as a one-on-one match, but I think there's such an interesting dynamic with Jimmy and Jay and how they might get involved. There's a lot of stuff. The Bloodline, TKO obviously loves the Bloodline. We're starting to enter another resurgence with. We're in the bottom of the third inning with the Bloodline still. But I'm excited about that. I think, the women's matches, like there's a lot of stuff about Crown Jewel that is honestly, it's a freaking banger card. It's a phenomenal build. It's a phenomenal card. Bound for Glory, I agree with the Legends tag team, right? That show for me, like I feel like Mike Santana has to win the world championship.
Correct.
So I'm excited about. I'm super excited for Bound for Glory, but the thing that really could steal the show all weekend from an in-ring perspective, I'm not talking about spectacle. I'm not talking about big surprise moments. I'm just talking from a pure in-ring perspective. Leon Slater and Javon Evans might be.
Yeah, hands down, that'll be the best match of the weekend.
It could very well be match of the year. We're talking.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a very big potential match.
It's going to be so much fun.
So I'm excited for Bound for Glory, and I know it kind of, the thing with Wrestle Dream is right now, as it stands right now, there's nothing on Wrestle Dream that truly captures my heart. And
like you said, like Samoa Joe and Hangman Page, like it doesn't really do much for me.
Yes. Now, what I will say is this, though. I will say this before we conclude our show. And I will talk to you a little bit more about this post-show. But I know for myself personally as a creator, with like Sunday pay-per-views, it just meshes so well with my
for sure
schedule.
It works very well.
Obviously, Crown Jewel's at like 5 a.m, 8 a.m, something like that.
I know.
Personally speaking, I would like to be live for the post shows. So I want to see how I could figure that out, whatever it may be. But we'll see.
We can do that.
We'll see how that goes. And me and you could talk about that off air. But because I am excited for the pay-per-views this weekend. And I think, genuinely speaking, it will be fun. And who knows what will happen. But yeah, man. Freaking great week for professional wrestling. I thought yesterday was fun, bro. Yesterday was, I know people are going to talk about the ratings and they're going to go and use that as a way to like, oh, WWE beat AEW or AEW beat WWE. But whatever the numbers come back as, what I really just want to preface is I still enjoyed both shows. So,
correct.
So no matter what the numbers come back with.
They were fun.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show live. Billy, I was going to say, you're going to do a watch along tonight, but there is no wrestling tonight. So,
well, yeah, dude, I was supposed to do it last night, and I told you about what happened. So, for anybody who doesn't know, some of the people texted me asking me what happened. I did go live. I did. I started the live stream, and my computer just completely crumbled on me. But it's getting resolved. It's getting fixed.
Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show. NordVPN.com/Ango. Your number one spot, if you guys know what I mean. If you know, you know, you know, you know, you know. Shout out to everybody who dropped a super chat in today's live stream. We did hit our super chat goal. Shout out to Billy for joining us. Make sure you guys check him out at Billy TKO. Clips will be available on YouTube Shorts and TikTok momentarily. Also, keep in mind I will have some breaking news very soon in today's video if I can get 100% confirmation on it. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you guys tomorrow.